Welcome to Tying Flies with Bearded Trout's Flies. Today's episode, the gomphus dragonfly. So this is tied a little differently. It is a stronger pattern as to your regular deerhair gomphus. So our material list is as follows. A 9672 or TMGO 5263 or equivalent, size 8. I do tie these in 6s, but I find if you're in the wind, bad cast, and they hit you, the 8s are a little more forgiving. So our body, well, first off, before we get to our body, we need something to tie that on with. We're going to be using our staple uni thread in 8/0. Olive done and white are loaded up currently. Our body is, of course, deerhair. Our dubbing of choice today, I've pre-mixed a olive with a little bit of brown. I put a little bit of ice dub and some holographic olives in there, mix it up. Our legs today will be consisting of a barred silly leg. You can use any rubber leg you like, of course. Your pheasant tail, olive, guinea, and then our head is going to be deer hair again. So if you made it this far, thank you. If you are new here, thank you for clicking on this, and I hope by the end of this video you have found something useful and you will subscribe and like this video to get it more exposed. So once again, this is the deer hair gomphus with Bearded Trout's Flies, and let's get to it. We'll see you in a second. All right, so I'm going to start with a thread. Pick a spot, any spot. We're going to build a slight base on this. And in the end, we are going to start at our usual point, right at the start of the curve of the hook. So with this pattern, I fish it a lot, I tie them a lot, and a few little tricks I've learned over the years of tying these that you will soon discover. Start with trick number 1 or tip number 1. When doing your first bundle, try to go with a smaller bundle, not too thick. It'll be easier to work with. So we're just going to do 2 light wraps. Pull it down. As I pull, I rotate. Work your fibers around the hook point so they don't get trapped and bent. Give it a couple binding wraps in it. Then with pressure, front and back, just compress that. Give yourself another binder and work your thread in front of it. Now I like to do a couple wraps forward, couple wraps back. And what that is doing is, if I take too large of a bundle or too much tension on my thread, cut my thread somehow, that first bundle that I put on there, I'm not going to lose. It's going to give me, half a dozen wraps of thread before it unravels. So take our second bundle. Pack it in. Get in front of it. So safety wraps once again. Too light, pull it, rotate it. Press it in. Safety wraps. And this should be our last bundle for this stage of the fly. Or should we do one more? Yeah, one more little one won't hurt. At this point, we're going to cut our thread off. And we're going to trim the body we have created so far. And this is where my style of this pattern is a lot stronger than your store-bought ones or your typical straight deer hair gomphus body. So we're just going to trim our body. I use a razor blade. Usually start straight cutting. Tops, bottom, sides, square it off. Check your hook gap. Now, with the hook gap, you want to cut low enough that you don't lose too much gap, but you want to be mindful of your thread base underneath. You don't want to cut that because you've already gone this far in the fly. When you cut your thread, you got to start it all over again. And then we're just going to finish that off with our scissors, rounding out those edges. Doesn't have to be perfect. Then start your thread again. So as I was saying, why this pattern, my style of pattern, is more durable, because what we're going to do at this point is we're going to do a dubbing loop. And we're going to do a figure 8 over the body, which is going to basically lock it down in place. So after a few fish, it doesn't get thrashed and unraveled. Now our dubbing is just a kind of medium long lychee style dubbing. This is a brown and olive with a little bit of ice dub mixed in and some hollow and laser olive dubbing. Give that a spin. Tease out your excess. And then we're just going to run this through the body down to the butt. And then work yourself back up to your thread. Now we've given the body some color as well as some strength. So now legs. You can use anything you have on hand. Pheasant, olive guinea fowl fibers, use turkey, golden pheasant, or rubber legs. Today we're going to use rubber legs. And just like that, little bit of extra movement on them. You can pick them up off the bench. We'll just go under the thread, lifting it back on top. Then just pull your fibers, or your legs, sorry, down the sides. And lock them in. Make sure you've got a little base. Then we're just going to grab another bundle of deer. We're just going to finish our fly off. So I've had these flies last for dozens upon dozens upon dozens of fish because of how I've tied that. It's a very robust pattern. It's a pattern that I fish actually almost every day I'm out on the water. Probably every day I'm on the water. I will chuck a gomphus on a short leader on a heavy sink, let it drop down, and just either slowly retrieve it or just 1/2 inch to 1 inch strips all the way back. Got our last bundle there. Put a little base. Now you can whip finish. Tie your thread off. We're just going to trim our head. I usually start right on the top. And I won't trim all the way to my legs, just so I don't cut them off by accident. And that's where the rotary does come into place nice. On the belly, I do a tighter cut to the legs. Now, a nice thing with having rubber legs, and they're a little longer, so you can pull those legs back, pull them tight against the body, and get between them and the remaining deer hair that is still needing to be trimmed. Finish off your head. What I'll do is just take my razor blade and just underneath the eye, slight cleaning there. Same with on the top, if you've got anything that did crowd the eye a little bit. And then I will just trim my legs so that they're about even with the body. And there you go. There is the ultimate indestructible gomphus dragonfly. So, once again, with the loop around the body, it is a lot stronger. Will hold up to dozens upon dozens, if not hundreds of fish if you don't break them off. Maybe not hundreds, but, you know, it's a very strong pattern. Anyways, until the next one, tight lines and happy flies.